Alright, we're finished with our bogey wheels on our suspension, and we've checked all the joints and made sure they were all working, and our shocks were not blown, and they were working. Couple of things. These set screws I had to use a manual, like a Allen key, and they're 7/32, so I don't know if you have one of those or not. It's kind of nice now because all my wheels turn quite easily, and I know everything's greased, and I know when that track goes around it's going to meet the less amount of resistance, and therefore you're going to have more horsepower going to the ground. I have the back portion. I just set it in there for right now. Those all four are fixed and greased. Then I have two on either side. They go in this location and in this location, and I'm going to leave those off because it'll be easier for me to get this in. Then I'll put those on later, since they're just outboard bogies. This is a phenomenally greasy mess. Wear old clothes and have plenty of paper towels available, because all this is just greasy and gnarly. I mean, it's pretty clean, but it's still a really greasy mess to work with. Let me think what else. Okay, I want to talk to you about these shock absorbers. These are made by Fox, and they're probably really expensive. If your shocks are blown, you can rebuild these. They sell parts to rebuild them. I don't know what it'd cost to rebuild them. Mine seem to be okay. If you're in a pinch, I've done this before, the bottom of the shock is just like a conventional circle, and the bolt goes through it. So you could probably stroke this thing out and find yourself an application down to O'Reilly's for an automotive shock like that, and probably the rebound and the preload and whatnot, rebound and compression are going to be different. It's going to be valved different, but it'd work. What you'd have to do is you'd have to cut this off, unless you'd probably find an application like that too. It might be a little big. You'd have to put a bushing on it, or you cut this off and TIG weld it on your new shock. The front it's got a coilover on it, so you might be able to find a small coilover application too at O'Reilly's or AutoZone or Action Auto or whatever. They have books of shock absorbers that you can look through, and they have measurements and whatnot like that you might be able to make work. I've done this before on a couple of older sleds where the parts were not available. Okay, so I've kind of run out of time. This is going to be a 3-day process, it looks like. Taking it out, fixing it all, and putting it all back in. And it could be a day process, but I don't want to work myself to death. And you noobs out there, the best idea is to go slow and allow yourself lots of breaks and lots of time. If you want to do this, or you're expecting to do this all in one day, well, yeah, I guess it's possible, but it's not probable. So there you go. Alright, we're going to put that in tomorrow. One other thing I wanted to show you is our water pump. If you remember, we rebuilt this water pump, and I had some questions about it, and the questions were if there's any water that's introduced into this that goes past the seal, it comes out of this little weep hole, but if it's enough water, then it could go past the seal and inside the engine case, resulting in you could lock your engine up or whatnot. So what I did is I put the water pump cover on, and I sealed it, new gasket, and I used just a little dab of ultra gray on it on either side of the gasket when I put it together, and I filled it with water, this portion, and I let it set for about an hour. And of course I turned the pump and jiggled it around like this in order to get any air bubbles out of it or what like that. because I wanted to make sure that that water was going to get down to that seal to see if it leaked. And I have absolutely no water come through it. So I know that this water pump will work initially, but still has some huge questions. I want to get online and talk to some people about this, because this is just wacky. There's a sight glass on the crankcase side to see how much antifreeze you're putting into your engine, and to drain the antifreeze. It actually has a low drain and a high drain. I don't know what that's for. I'll have to investigate that, but it'll be a curiosity. But anyways, I tested this pump to see if it's going to work. I put some water in it, and it seems to be okay. All right, we're going to get that suspension in there tomorrow.